I am new to Capture One. A big shout out to Upfront Studios. He recommended I should try out Capture One. That is going to make my work easier and faster. So I decided to download the trial version yesterday just to see how Capture One works. So in today's video, I just want to show you some of the tabs I've played around with in Capture One. So let's jump right into it and edit this image together. So one of the things I played with was the white balance. So with the white balance, you can either make your image cool or warm. So I always like my image to be on the warm side. So I'm going to leave it at 5000 Kelvin. You can touch the tint if you want, but I'm not going to touch the tint for this image. So the next tab I played with yesterday was the exposure and the high dynamic range. So here I'm going to reduce the exposure a little bit, just a little tiny bit. Then I'll increase the contrast just a little bit. And I'll play around with the brightness. Let's see, I'll increase a bit. It's too bright. I'll bring it down a little tiny bit. It's too bright. I'll bring it down a little bit. I'm not going to touch the saturation because I'm going to do that at the color editor tab. Next thing I'm going to do is to reduce the highlights a little bit. As you can see, the highlights here, it looks a bit too bright for me. I'm going to bring the highlights down a little bit. So bring the highlight down. Then I'll bring the shadow up just a little tiny bit. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'll bring the whites down a little bit. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Let's touch the black. I'll bring the black a little bit down as well. Next up is the color editor. I really love the color editor. So let's see what's on the basic tab. So here, I'm just going to increase the saturation of the skin tone. Increase the saturation here. Just a little bit. You can play around with the hue, but I'm happy with the hue at 0. So the only thing I'm going to do is just to increase the saturation just a little bit. Let's say 15. So let's see the before and after. Before, after. So let's crack on. The next thing I'm going to work on after the basic is the skin tone. As you can see from the image, the skin tone is not even. One thing I observed with Capture One, you can easily make the skin tone uniform. So to do that, what you need to do is to click on this arrow here, this one. Then select that part of the skin that you would like. I want this side. Once you select it, it's going to show on the wheel here. So you can either make it bright or make it dark. Or if you don't want to do it that way, you can come here. You can increase the hue or decrease the hue depending on the vibes you're going for. But I don't want to touch that. What I want is just to make the skin tone uniform. So I'll come down here to uniformity. Can increase the hue to see. Increase the hue. Can bring it down. I'm just going to increase the saturation a little bit. I'll increase the hue as well, a little tiny bit. So let's see the before and after. This was before, and this is the after. Before and after. Wow. So the next thing I'm going to do after working on the basic and the skin tone is to come to the levels and curve. So what I'm going to do with the levels is just to make the image pop. a little bit more. So I'll increase here. This is the shadow part of it. I'm just going to increase a little bit to maybe 3. Or within 2, yeah, I'll leave it at 2. So I'll just come to the highlights and increase it a little tiny bit. Then the next thing I'll do is to come to the curve and increase it like so, or something like this. So let's see the before and after. This was before, and this is after. Before, after. Another thing you can do with Capture One is to retouch your images. You can remove blemishes, dark circles, and make your skin even. So let's see how that works in Capture One. I'm really happy about this because I will not have to go to Photoshop to start removing blemishes and all of that. So I can do everything right here in Capture One. So let's see how it works. Remove blemish. Let's take it to, let's zoom in and see. You can see there's some blemishes here. So let's take it up to 50. Let's see how it's going to look like. 50. So let's take it down to 100. Wow. What do you think? Let's check out the dark circles. I'm going to take that one also to 50. Let's see how it's going to look like. So let's see the before and after. Before, after, before, after. You can increase the amount of skin texture you want. If you want it soft, if you want more texture, you bring it down. If you want softer texture, you take it up. I don't want the texture to be too soft. I'm just going to bring it down to 50. Let's see. It's going to increase this one. Let's bring it down to 0 and see. So let's bring it down to 100. That is too much. I'll leave it at, say, 60. Let's see the before and after. Before, after. Before, after. Before, after. Before now, I actually thought Capture One would be very difficult to use. But from this trial, I must say Capture One is quite easy to work with. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Which editing software do you use for your basic color correction and color grading? And if you enjoy content like this, click the like button and subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next video.